Rika.
How are you?
I am good. Hey there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Brand Rewind Live. It is Thursday, December 15th. And then there were two.
And then there were two.
And then there were
Last
two.
man standing.
I know. So I'm Denise Kegler. I'm coming to you from a very cold Boston. No surprise, it's December. Boston, Massachusetts. And my company is MDK Brand Management.
Hi, I'm Barika Phillips Bell, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles. And it's also very cold here. It's 49 degrees today. So I am with B3 Media Solutions, and my sunny weather has left me.
It's so funny when you said it's cold here. I want to say, yeah, what's cold, Barika?
It's
What's
49.
cold?
49 degrees is very cold.
That's not very cold. Anyone, New England, up north, will be like, are you serious? 49 in December. Actually, it's funny because before this week, it had been unseasonably warm here in the 40s and 50s. So this was like, whoa. I think it's going to drop down to the 20s maybe today. And certainly through the rest of the, well, not certainly, but through the rest of the week, it's going to be in the 30s. But major snow coming up north, the upper elevations of Massachusetts and New England. So, yeah, there are just two of us here. If you guys certainly see that, just Barika and me. Patia is off today. She has a business conflict, and Zoe continues to be on PTO. Yay. But we're holding down the fort, Barika.
Hold down the fort.
So today, we usually start off when we can. We have time on what is being recognized today, and I'm glad to say, as a tea drinker, that today is National Tea Day. Woohoo!
Ooh.
Tea Day. So it was December 15th, National Tea Day, is when it is actually the most popular beverage in the world. Tea.
Is it?
I did not know that until I researched this day. At least this one resource I found on the internet says the tea is the most popular beverage in the world. Tea Day was created to raise awareness of tea. I guess all the benefits of drinking tea, the impact that the trade has had on farmers and workers. There's a big story to tea. There's a big story to tea. So I am going to use this day as an excuse to drink tea during our show, which I never do. I usually have it to the side, but I think I can actually drink it. Although, we talk about, hair, and I'm going to talk a little about makeup because my lipstick on the tea. So I may take, just a couple sips, but
not the full set. I wish I liked tea. I am not a tea drinker. I'm more of a coffee and water drinker. So let me know when coffee day comes up, because
I'm sure there is one.
I know there's a coffee day.
Yeah, there's a day for every single thing on the planet. So yeah.
But I did want to say to everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. This is our last Brand Rewind Live of 2022. So sorry that we're going to have to miss you guys, but this is not the last interaction that you'll have with us. So be sure to check out our Brand Rewind newsletters. Next week, our newsletter will rewind to our top stories of 2022. And our Brand Rewind Year in Review will include some of our most exciting stories that you've explored with us so far.
Yeah, and that's next week. And then the following week, December 29th, we're going to take a look at the brands to look forward to in 2023. What are some brands that we think are going to make headlines in 2023? So if you guys, those of you watching us, if you have any thoughts about what brands you think, whether they're individuals or nonprofits or businesses, whatever it is, shoot us a note on what you think the top brands of 2023 will be, and we will feature those brands in our last Brand Rewind newsletter of 2022.
Yes, we will. I'm just gonna forecast. I think Twitter is definitely going to be one that's gonna make that list.
Twitter and Elon Musk, right? Both of them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
both of those.
Sure.
Both of those.
All right. So
So
with that, kick us off, Marika. We got a full show.
we
So
have a full show for
exciting.
you guys today. So I would be remiss to start off with Brittany Griner. I am so sure that many of you have heard so much about Brittany Griner, what she's doing, what she's up to. So we're going to get into a little bit about Brittany, kind of like what's going on. If you haven't heard, Brittany Griner is free, and she has has come home for the first time in about 300 days and is able to sleep in her bed since she was detained in February of this year by the Russian authorities. Now, Brittany Griner came home early on Friday, and her release was secured after a prisoner swap between the US and Russia, which of course involved an international arms dealer named Victor Bout, the Merchant of Death, who was arrested in 2008 and extradited to the US in 2010.
Mm.
When she came home, she immediately went to the Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas for evaluation. Now, I want to set the stage for the fact that, she was sent to a penal colony. And in life there, according to her lawyers, was grueling, was miserable, because most of the women in the penal colony had to work sewing uniforms. But since Griner was unable to sit at a table because she's 6'9" and her
Mhm.
hands were too large to manage sewing, they had her carrying fabric all day.
Oh, wow.
Her lawyer also said that she had to cut her hair. So if you're seeing pictures around her circulating that she
Mhm.
has short hair, she had to cut her hair because
Wow.
her locks were too long and too cold, and there was no way to dry them. So unfortunately, she cut her hair, and so she's sporting a new look since in the last 2 weeks that she had that done. But she's sporting a new look. But the real brand rewind story that I really kind of want to focus on is around the WNBA. Now, the WNBA is really a trendsetter. It's a
Mhm.
league of mostly African American women who've really been very active of taking up progressive causes, voting rights, stricter gun laws, equality for the LGBTQ plus community, and also freeing Brittany Griner has been one of their top actions for this year. Now, if you know anything about the WNBA, they are very involved in the political seats. They helped to flip the seat in Georgia by supporting Raphael Warnock. They also helped to speak against they also spoke out against people who were against the Black Lives Matter movement. They went to protest the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a
Mm.
number of different things that the WNBA has been a part of. And so I think when I think of a brand rewind, this is in a positive way for the WNBA, because not only have they been trying to get the pay equity gap for the basketball players to be on par with those of the NBA players, but they also brought to the light to the fact that dozens of these WNBA players are having to compete
Mhm.
internationally in the off season in
Right.
order to boost their income. So ultimately, I think that the brand rewind moment the brand rewind moment for me from this is really there needs to be more jobs that are opening up between the WNBA. And I know people say the WNBA doesn't make any money and it's a loss leader, but there are so many talented women that are playing for the WNBA that are ex-players, that jobs need to really be opened up for these players so that they're able to boost their incomes, creating coaching positions and organizational openings, even a partnership with the NBA and the WA where they could work as front office positions in the G leagues would be beneficial to help kind of offset those costs, so they're not playing in countries where their relations are not as friendly to the US, like China or Russia, and
Right.
things like what happened to Brittany Griner are less likely to happen. What do you think, Denise?
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's interesting when you talk about the WNBA being a loss leader. Think about the the reason that is because of the lack of money pouring into the league through advertisers. So where are the advertisers? Come on. Where are the brands who can be running ads during WNBA games, who can be sponsoring different aspects of the WNBA, who can be endorsing some of these players? My guess, we talked about, 2023. I'm well, I have a thought about who something in that space is going to continue to um, be or have a platform in 2023. I think because of the spotlight that's been on the WNBA. The commissioner of the WNBA was on one of the morning talk shows, and perhaps she was on all of them, making the rounds after Griner was released, or at least news of her release came across. And she was asked that question about why was, Brittany Griner even having to go over to Russia in the first place. And it's
Yeah.
because she had to your point, make extra cash to
Yeah.
live on. Well, shame, shame, shame. So she did say that yes, the pay equity between men and women's sports is closing, but it's not
It's
going to
not closed.
it's not closed. Exactly. It's not
Yeah.
closed. And so she threw out some numbers that the league is committed to hitting on average salaries for the players. But I do think that what happened with Brittany Griner is going to really shine an even a brighter
Great.
spotlight on pay inequity in not just professional sports, but come on, let's face it,
Corporate
everywhere,
America, everywhere, everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's good that she was. I did not know about why she had to cut her hair, because she was and
Yeah.
that she was carrying, cloth because her hands were too big. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really think about, like, most prisons aren't really built for 6'9" prisoners. There's not, especially on the women's side. So for her, like it was a lot more things that she had to endure while she was there. And while we're glad that she is home, we know that there's more to do. And I'm glad that the NBA is actually committed to bringing more prisoners of war home. Just because Brittany is now released, they are not giving up the fight, and they're going to continue to push for more prisoners like Whelan. He's not released yet. They were unable to secure his release.
Right,
So
right,
they're
right.
still going to be a part of the fight, which I think is a great thing for the brand to be a part of. They take up the cause, and they're not going to leave it just with the fact that she's home now. So
Yeah. No, more to come for sure on
more
this.
to come.
A lot more to come.
So let me know what your stories are this today.
So I'm going to kick us off. It's interesting to talk. Hello, we have some more. Danielle Kegler, Joey
Hey,
Kegler have joined. Hey guys.
hey guys.
Hey. Okay, yeah. So we got to talk about Sam. We got to talk about FTX. You guys have to know who I'm talking about, right? FTX crypto exchange founder Sam Bankman Fried is not free. He's not a free man.
He's not free.
He's not free. He is in a Bahamas jail right now. His bail was denied, I think twice, certainly once, and I think even a second time it was denied because the judge said he is absolutely going to flee. If he is bail, he is gone. Is what the judge fears and prosecutors fear in the Bahamas. So he is still behind bars. Apparently, you think Bahamas. Okay, yeah, ha, great Bahamas. No, no, no. Apparently, the conditions are not very good, sweltering hot conditions. And I was reading an article earlier today that said he went from, obviously this humongous, well, I don't know about the size, but certainly a beautiful, comfortable pad, his home. FTX is based in the Bahamas, and Mr. Free was living in the Bahamas when he was arrested, and so he is now in jail in the Bahamas, fighting extradition back to the U.S., which of course the U.S. wants him back here. Don't know how that's going to play out, but it's such a what's the story just on so many levels is fascinating. I don't do crypto. I don't have any investments in that at all. I don't really understand it. In all transparency, I don't really understand it. But what's fascinating are the number of lawsuits that are predicted to be filed against the different celebrities, certainly against him, but also the different celebrities who are out there, pitching FTX and
Oh
crypto,
wow.
right? And so Tom and Giselle Brady, David Ortiz, just to name a few of some of the celebrities, yeah, who got behind it in a big way. They were talking today. I was listening to one of the talk morning radio talk shows, and they were saying, well, will they have to get their money back? You know, and how liable are they? How exposed are they? Did they know? And so we talk about a brand rewind. So let's focus on though Sam Bankman Fried at rewinding his brand. Okay, he did a whole talk show tour last week, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, but it aired last week. We sat down. The one I watched was Good Morning America's George Stephanopoulos, where he was just talking like chatty Cathy. And at one point, George Stephanopoulos said to him, "Are you sure you should be talking right now? Does your attorney know you're like talking right now?" And there was an article, and it was something. It says Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan Belfort says Sam Bankman-Fried has diarrhea of the mouth
Wow.
after his media appearances. You know, it's 101, you know, PR is when you're in trouble, most folks are going to want to be quiet because what do they say, that whatever you say could be held against you. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Is they're saying that he talked too much. He certainly didn't admit to anything. He'd said that he did not know some of this stuff that was going on, but he did admit that he should have known. It was his company. He founded it. He was a CEO
Yeah.
at the time, that he should have known that all this was going on. So now they have a new CEO who was testifying on Capitol Hill a few days ago and is distancing himself from what I read, the little piece that I saw, not read, the little piece that I watched on the television, sound like my old person, the television, watched on television. Um, about seeming to distance himself, but shoot, who wouldn't? But
Yeah.
but from what I read, he went from, so Mr. Fried went from something like $1 billion down to $100,000 cash advance he can get on his credit card in a matter of days. He went from, you know, this to this, and we're seeing more and more of that. Because who was that? What was it just recently where somebody else lost all the? Oh, Kanye West, right?
Kanye West. Yes.
He just went
Yeah.
from here to here, so they say. Even the guy, okay, who the Sandy Hook, right, conservative,
Oh yeah.
filed
He
for
was.
bankruptcy. Can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Filed for bankruptcy because he claims he's broke, but then some people are saying no, he hid his money. he put it somewhere so that you can't get to it. I can't think of his. Anybody watching, you guys can think, because I'm having a brain thing right now. I can't think of his name.
Is it Alex?
Yeah, Alex somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He
Alex
got he
Rock.
got he got sued for that actually. Right. Yeah.
He got sued. Now, and you're right, that was a payout, like
Yeah.
billions of dollars, right? In
Yeah.
payoffs, for some of the, for saying some of those just horrific statements that he made. Thank goodness that happened. But anyway, so lesson learned: when you're in trouble and the world is watching, just don't say anything. Just keep it to yourself or with your attorneys, you know. Anyway, so but don't also take your eye off the ball when you're running a company, which of course Barika and I have our own companies. You know, we're responsible for what happens at our
Mm.
companies. You know, to say, well, I didn't know, that's not an excuse.
I
No.
don't. I agree with you. I mean, it was the same thing that we talked about when we went over the Balenciaga. Like for them to say it was an
Right,
oversight, I
right.
don't believe you
No,
because there's no way that a company can have an oversight that big for a
no.
national campaign or FTX,
And
whatever.
I don't know why they think that's a better defense to say that you didn't know what
Well,
was
did
going
it work? How
on.
many times does it work? Has
Yeah,
it worked?
exactly. It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't work because one, at worst or at best, it just makes you look like you're just
Like
not
you're,
a good manager.
yeah.
And worse, you're a liar, and you're not, whatever. There's a lot I could say about. But yeah, so that was a big story. So we'll see. So just as the first story that we talked about, Brittany Griner, this also has definitely more chapters to this story, for sure, for sure.
Well, I'm going to take you on a social journey right now. So, you know that I love all things social, and I am really big into social listening. And so, something that really came up was the Lenza AI. And of course, because of Lenza AI, the Black model AI, that's a virtual model, actually came back into play. And so, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you may have seen these photos pop up on social media with your friends where people are taking these filters and they look completely like a fairy tale, or they look like a superhero, or they look like drastically different. Well, that is in regards to Lenza AI, which is an app, a photo and video editing app that shot to prominence in the recent week because it lets you generate stunning general digital photos of yourself in contemporary art styles. And
Mm.
all it takes is a small fee and uploading 10 to 20 different photos of yourself. And
Wow.
because of that, Lenza has been climbing the hit list in the App Store because people
Hit
are just
list.
really, yeah, the hit list. That because people are just uploading it. I mean, they're downloading it and uploading their photos over and over and over again. And so if you've seen these photos, here's the reason why it's kind of been a problem. And I don't want to explain it because I don't think that I can do it justice.
Mm.
So I actually found a video that I think really does a lot of the explaining of like why it's an issue.
Will be. Lenza uses Stable Diffusion, which is an open source text to image model. This means it can take a text input and generate an image based on that. And the method for it to create these different avatars is style transfer, which is taking a style and applying it to an image. I've done a few videos on these topics before, but AI art has made leaps and bounds since then. If you want to check them out though, you can find links to those videos below. The point of contention are the datasets that Stable Diffusion was trained on. One of them was Lion 5B, which is a publicly available dataset that contains a staggering 5.85 billion image and text description pairs scraped from all over the internet, and some images might have been included without the knowledge of the original owners. Many of
Mm.
those being artists that are unaware that their work is being used for this purpose. The AI is trained on images from those artists to form an algorithm. And the Lensa app uses your uploaded selfies to first generate an image of you and applies that style algorithm to create new avatars in vastly different variations. So
Wow.
imagine if you were an artist and you trained an AI on all of your work. The model would be able to output pieces you might create. And as an artist, it would definitely help you produce more quickly than you are humanly capable of doing, although some might be a bit off.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right.
So, if you can imagine that you're an artist and your work was being trained, you were using your style, the way that you paint, without your permission to put this across the internet, like, and actually they're charging people for it and you're not getting any money. So that's why so many artists have been up in arms. I've seen it over and over and over again, where artists are just kind of upset. And so this is one of the different people that actually brought back Shudu. Now, Shudu is actually the first AI model. Beautiful, right? She's not real.
Mm.
She's been hired from different companies, like a number of different companies, like Hyundai, General Motors, BMW have hired her as a model to work for them, and she's a virtual influencer. She's even gone to BAFTA award shows as a hologram. Now
Oh,
she is based on a real person. They like her movements, and they will work with artists. But the creator of this is a white man, which is why so many different people have been up in arms about this AI model. Because before Lenza came out, there was Shudu. And if I wanted to kind of read to you what it said, what she's saying, it's enabling the problem with Lenza is that it's enabling Lenza to give them, you're giving them your likeness. The more images you give it, the smarter and more lifelike it becomes. In addition to the deep fakes, you're putting your face somewhere it's never been, and you're saying something you'd never say.
mm.
And this is the worst kind of blackface. She's not only black, but indigenous from Africa. She's from the Ndebele people, but with European features, except she isn't. She's the product of a white imagination of black indigeneity. So Cameron James Wilson is actually the owner of this AI virtual influencer company where if
Mhm.
you want a virtual influencer, you can come to him and he's the agent. But not only is this problematic, if you are trying to, if you meet someone, for instance, and you have 10 pictures of them, you can go to Lenza and actually create porn from other images. So,
What?
you're not even thinking of the different ramifications that an image
Oh,
site like this can actually create. All you need are 10 to 12 different images, and you can actually create porn. You can still artwork. There's so many different things that this app does. So here's the good part is that you can actually the company that created the AI model, they do have 4 black models. They have one that's Nordic, one that's Asian, and then one that's an extraterrestrial, because you always need an alien. So if you are the reason why we wanted to share this with you is because if you have done this, or if you know someone who has done it, it's not too late to rescind permission. It just requires you, and I'll put this back up again so that you guys can see it. It does require you to request from Lenza that they delete all of your personal data, and you have to send an email to privacy@lenza/ai.com. And any of the images that you've uploaded, that you give them, you can rescind that permission by, especially if they use them in advertising, you can rescind that permission by emailing contact@lenza/ai.com. So just be forewarned that pictures that people take, they can put them in a filter and turn it to anything that they like. So just be very cautious and very guarded around that.
so okay, so I'm trying to follow, and we invite, as always, our viewers to post comments and questions in the comment box. So wait, so selfies, you mentioned that selfies, this company can take people's selfies without their knowledge. How, right? How can people go in? I don't even know if this is even going to make sense as a question, because I'm maybe not even following this. Is there a website where all of the selfies that they're using, that they can go and scour through the thousands, hundreds of thousands, or is it just way too many to look at? I mean,
Well,
how's that?
it's an app that you
Okay.
download to your phone, and so when you upload these selfies to make these different images of like the fairy and the superhero, like when you do that,
Yeah.
they are taking those images and putting them in their own repository. You
Okay.
don't have
We're
access to
not
go
doing
through
it.
that.
Okay.
But
So
what
there's
you
no way for us to go and look at their repository to see where.
know,
Ooh.
but they use an open source image repository that has text and images to
Yeah.
be able to train their algorithm. And that open source AI depository repository had artist images that were not, their permission was not required to be able to use that information because it's open source. That's the whole point. So you can't go look at all of the images, but they'll spit out some images and they'll take your images to make other things from it,
Wow. And you have
because
no
it's
way of
really, they're copying the style. So like if you see the some of the artists like Starry Night, they'll take that style, overlay it with a tiger, and then create a Starry Night tiger. you
knowing. Oh,
know
wow.
so that's the whole point of it.
Technology.
Yeah,
Technology being, as Danielle Cagle says, creepy. I totally agree with that. But,
exactly.
and that's the world, we're living in right now, where and we are all subjected to that. If you're in any way, shape, or form connected to social,
Social.
internet, anything that you do online, you could certainly shut down everything, wipe yourself, although I don't think you can ever really do that. They say there are companies you can hire to do. I don't think you could ever really do it. But short of that, you are risking your image, your likeness, your
Yeah.
identity. You are. I mean, we all are. We all are. It's the world we're living in right now. What's that say?
um,
I can't see that.
The question is, should brands stay away from virtual influencers altogether? I mean, that's a really good question because
Yes.
it's cheaper, but you're not actually like, if your goal is to have more African American or Asian or, people of color in your advertising, having a virtual influencer isn't really aiding that, because the money's not going to a person, it's going to an agency. So if I'm trying to reach African Americans, the best way that I can reach African Americans or Asian Americans or whomever I'm trying to get to is to actually include the real
The
people,
real people.
not an influencer.
And it's not like we're not here. They can't say we can't find you.
Exactly.
Marika, we're here.
We're
You and
here.
I are here. Hey,
Exactly.
we're
You know what I'm
here.
saying?
Our
I
audience is
agree.
here.
There are people that meet and look like your audience, your target audience that you can work with. I don't think virtual influencers, if that is the goal,
Yeah.
is going to really fit the bill.
I
So
don't see a lot of, I mean, I don't know. This is a new thing. I don't see a lot of brands doing this, but who knows? We didn't see brands doing, driving, whatever. I mean, we didn't see a lot of the technology that is taking over our lives 10, 15, 20 years ago. So
yeah.
robots and driverless cars and whatever,
And I think it could also be that it's in different countries.
Yeah.
So in different countries, they will show ads and things with different people that they wouldn't necessarily show in America.
All
So
right.
there's
Well,
that.
wow. This half hour blew by.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we could just talk about this, and so great to have the engagement of our viewers, which we usually have. So, wow, we blew through that. So we didn't get to everything because we had such, powerful, compelling stories to talk through. So that was great. That was great. Good discussion. And thank you all for being here with us for this edition of Brand Rewind Live. So where can they find us, Barika? Where can they sign up?
Well, make sure that you sign up for Brand Rewind, the newsletter at www.brandrewind.com. And we also invite you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And please join our Facebook group.
Yeah, please do. So we're going to miss you guys. We won't be here for the rest of the year, but we'll be back on January 5th, Thursday, January 5th, 2023. My goodness,
We
2023.
will. I know. It'll be 2023.
I know, right? So we are wishing on behalf of the entire Brand Rewind crew, Barika, Patia, Zoe, and me, wishing you all a very, very safe, happy, fun holiday season with your friends and your family, and stay safe. Please stay safe. We look forward to seeing you guys in 2023.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.